Kiara Washington Speaks, and welcome back to my channel. So really quickly, family, to all of the new subscribers, I want to say welcome. And if you have not already, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. To all of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for supporting and for always showing love. So as you all can see in the title of this video, I am going to be talking about being 30 years old and finishing up my undergraduate degree. So what I first want to start out by saying is, to every single person who has decided to go to school, whether it be to get an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate, any vocational study, I just want to just give you all a shout out and just say, continue to keep pressing on, continue to keep going. And even though the road may get hard and it may get a little weary, just remember what you told yourself in the beginning when you started. Now, I'm 30 years old. I turned 30 in February of this year. So I've been 30 for about 5 months now. And I don't know what has been going on, y'all, but this year has been so real. This year has literally been so real to the point where typically when I do videos, I typically kind of script my videos out. I kind of have like notes and everything so I can stay on task. But I kind of knew exactly what I wanted to say in this video, and it would come directly from my thoughts and my heart, because honestly, y'all, I have been in and out of school since I was about 20 years old. I want to say 19 or 20 years old. And I'm now 30 years old, which is about 11 years later. And I am still working on getting my bachelor's degree. And I just want to say that the things for me that was the most challenging was, one thing I thought for the longest time was that I really didn't need a degree. Just being honest. I always thought I'm smart enough, I have enough talent and skills to not need a degree. And at this time, in the 2008, 2009, 2010, it was almost like that was like the years of the rise of the entrepreneurs. It seemed like everybody was being discovered. It seemed like so many people were coming up with different things on IG and Facebook and just kind of taking off. And I don't want to say that I necessarily thought that that was going to be my way into fame or stardom or being recognized. Recognition, that's the word I was trying to say. Being recognized or recognition. But I did think that things would take off for me where I would not need a degree at all. Now, what I do want to say is I want to give a disclaimer. This video is not for folks who, of course, have made millions or made a successful living without getting a degree. This is for people who have done what I have done or something similar and have come to the understanding and the realization that they may need to go back to school to make themselves more credible and make themselves a little bit more learned in things in life. So let me kind of talk about my modeling career. So most people who have come to know me on any social media platform know me from modeling. Now, the first time I ever stepped onto the modeling scene, I was about 14 or 15 years old. My mother was trying to get me into Barbizon, but I don't know if you all remember Barbizon, but Barbizon was a charm school, and it basically would teach you like etiquette and teach you how to walk and how to be proper and prim and close your legs and cross them and all this shit. And it was highly expensive. My mother really wanted me to go there. I really wanted to go there at 14, but even though I had the height and the body and the look, my mother didn't have the money, and we just didn't have the money to do it, so I didn't go to Barbizon. Moving forward, about 5 years later, I was about 19. I got discovered by a couple of different local artists here in my area, and they ended up getting me into different fashion shows, fashion weeks. I did a few publications in Northern Virginia, in the DC area and Maryland area. And from then on, I continued to work with other, honestly, great people who were on the fashion scene. I actually ended up in 2014 or 2015, I actually ended up working with Evan Lee of Vogue magazine. And that was probably one of my best looks shoots that I did, and it was one of those things that really boosted my portfolio. Anyway, for a long time, family, I really thought that I would make it in life by modeling. I was so dedicated. I was so serious about it, but I lacked the business side. I lacked the reality side. There were a couple of different times I was even considering moving to Atlanta at one time, and New York at one time, and I think Florida at one time, but those things fell through simply because even though I'm seeing all of these people who seem like, you know, they're going so hard, and if they have to live on the street and go to 60 casting calls a day, they're going to do this until they make it. That story only exists for certain people, and it doesn't exist for everybody, because to be honest, I did not have that much drive that I thought I had. And at the end of the day, I had to learn to be okay with the fact that that wasn't how hardcore I was on modeling. I just knew I was good at it. I had a certain look, and I really enjoyed modeling. Now, moving forward, I moved from the modeling scene into more like the nightclub scene. So I ended up becoming a bartender and a server and a waitress. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And to be honest, people look at serving and bartending as, you know, very basic, you know, jobs, as in really kind of loser jobs. But what people don't understand, or some people don't understand about bartenders and servers, is that if you are really good at your job and you work in the right area and in the right facilities and places, you can really make really good money. I would say I wish that the money that I made as a bartender a few years ago, I wish that I had an understanding of how money really worked, because I would be set. Because honestly, I was, on paper, it might have said I made 20 grand a year, because they was only paying us maybe $275 or $225 an hour. But I mean, honestly, y'all, I was making probably $60,000, no lie, a year bartending, because I used to easily make anywhere from $200 to $400 per night. And I would work on the weekends. I would make anywhere from about $200 to $400 a night. During the week, I would make anywhere from maybe $80 to $150. And I would work at least 5 days a week. Some days I would work 6. So I was definitely making money, but I wasn't very cognizant on how to save my money. So I struggled. I struggled a while with that. Anyway, one thing I learned this year, let me kind of move a little bit forward, because I don't want to, you know, lollygag. One thing I really learned this year in year 30 is, regardless of all the money I may have made, regardless of the talent I may have had, whether it be modeling or dancing or anything like that, the things that I really excel in and really want to excel in, I have to get more basic prerequisite and credential knowledge under me to be able to successfully teach it back to other people. So the short story is this: if you are my age or around my age or older than me, and you are coming to grips with that, the fact that you may need to go back to school, just go back to school. Because here's the thing, I work for a really good company. If you've been on my channel for a little bit, you know that I work for Verizon. I work for corporate Verizon, which means that the benefits and the perks that we get are better than any of like the satellite kind of, you know, corporations or businesses or franchises. And Verizon gives us, honestly, they give us about $8,000 a year to go to school. And they actually have integrated programs within the company that can help you finish your classes and your courses for, I would say, anywhere from $500 to $800 cheaper than what you would pay at a traditional college. And all of these credits that you are accumulating through these integrated companies or company, they are able to transfer to any college. Like, these credits are 100%, not 90% or 95%, 100% transferable. So say on average, because I was at a university where I was spending, and I wasn't spending out of pocket, I was spending it with my, of course, my tuition assistants. I think I was paying $1,500 or $1,400 per course. And now I am spending about $650 per course. So you see the difference. And so the one thing I've learned, over the last year is just whatever you need to do for yourself, just do it. I think there's such a thing where we can easily get so caught up in the media. We can get caught up in social media because social media is heavy these days. Obviously, if you're watching me, you're on social media. So social media is very influential. It is easy to scroll up and down your timeline and to become the things that you watch can become so very impressionable that you can almost feel that those things are exactly speaking to you. And it doesn't mean that in a way that they're not, or that you cannot achieve or do those things. This is where the bottom line comes in. We should never, in totality, compare ourselves to the things that we're watching on social media. We should look at it as inspiration. We can use it sometimes as a guide. We can use it sometimes as examples, but we should never look at these people or these things that we're seeing and think that we can just totally duplicate the entire process. Because understand this, even if you're looking at me and you're watching me, there are still different things that you will hear me say, but you haven't seen or gone through my experience. You haven't experienced what I've experienced. So to every single person who happens to be, in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and you have decided that, hey, I need to go back and get this associate's or get this bachelor's or get this master's. Look, don't be ashamed of the age that you are. The reality of it is the fact that you have recognized that you need to do more and do better with your life, just do it. Like, I think one of the biggest things that I have to say for myself, and I'm going to close out in like a minute or two. One of the biggest things I have to say for myself is that I always just thought that I was smart enough to not have to do it. I did. Even though in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to finish and get my degree. I always thought there was just something inside of my head that just told me, you don't need it. You're an entrepreneur. You don't need it. You're going to make it without it. But the reality of it is whether I said I didn't need it or not, it was always a want. It was always a desire. It was always something that was in my heart. So why should I keep ignoring that? And here's the thing too. One thing that I feel that a lot of times that we get from social media is that we see influxes of people who are our age or younger, and they seem to be balling online. They seem to be balling out of control, and we can be totally overtaken by that. And we can think to ourselves, well, if they did it, then I can do it. Of course you could. Of course you can. But the reality of it is we should never feel as though that if we're not doing that thing, or if we're not doing those things that they're doing, that we're not successful, that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough. So that's all I have to say. My hopes and my prayers is that this video has encouraged somebody and made somebody really rethink about the next steps that they're going to take in life. It may take you another year, 2 or 3 or 4 to complete school or complete your degree. But I can promise you, in the end, it's going to be worth it. The fact that your earning potential is going to skyrocket is going to be worth it. Like right now, I work for Verizon, and I make, with my commissions and my base, I make about $50,000 a year, which is not bad because I'm single. I don't have, when I say I'm single, I mean I'm not married. I'm in a relationship, but I'm not married. I don't have children. I don't have elderly parents that I have to take care of. So my money is really my money. This lady hit me earlier in the year and wrecked my car. That was a blessing in disguise. I don't have a car note anymore. We've been on quarantine, so I haven't had a need for a car. So I haven't really been going anywhere lately. I live really close to everything. So if my fiance is at work and I don't get the car, I can Uber to where I want to go. Like, everything's around the corner. So I have really been able to hold on to a lot more of my money. But when I know that my base earning potential can move from $50K, which is what I make now, to about starting 86, 87, 89K, yeah, I gotta do something different. I I got to get that extra 15, 20, 30, 40 grand. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had to say, y'all. My hope and my prayers this video has encouraged somebody and made somebody think about what they're going to do next in their life and be willing to take the next step. Don't be afraid if you don't have all the answers or you don't feel like you have all the pieces together. As we make one step, the other steps will show up in front of us and we will be able to make the necessary moves. Okay? I love you all. I appreciate you all. Make sure if you haven't already, you give this video a thumbs up. And as well, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe down below if you have not. Leave a comment if you have any questions or any comments about this video. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.